What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the after credit scene. We are talking breakdown and all things episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again. Before we get going, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so when we drop new content, you'll be the first one to know about it, and then share this video all across the multiverse. A whole lot of things to go over in this episode. I really like this episode. I think the build-up has been great. They're doing a lot of world building still. They're showing you a whole lot of things that are coming. And in terms of my last prediction video, which you can kind of see a link to up here, we went 7 for 7. Now, admittedly, some of the things where we talk in generalities, world building, you know, dropping different names and firmly planning this thing in the MCU, very easy to come by, but it's things I want you guys to pay attention to because I think it affects the overall story. But prediction-wise, we went 7 for 7. Got some Punisher, got some Muse, set the stage for some things coming up, and I want to talk about all of it. But let's kind of go through the episode as it unfolded and see if we can't pull out some kernels here. The title of the episode, Sic Semper Systema. Obviously, if you know any of that stuff, a quick Google search will show you Death to the System. It is a play off of the famous John Wilkes Booth comment before he shoots Lincoln, Sic Semper Tyrannis, death to all tyrants. But it's a play off of that idea, which is why I think they chose that title, talking about, you know, and the idea is, who are the tyrants? Who are the bad guys? Who do you fight against? I think everybody in this story, Fisk, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, everyone is trying to figure out who's the bad guy. I think that was really well played out, and it even plays out on Twitter or X if you go looking on different channels where people are arguing over a specific scene concerning Matt Murdock and this guy Leroy Bradford that he's trying to get off. Leroy got stopped. If you take it as a small microcosm, Leroy gets arrested and he's going to get put in prison for a while for stealing 5 boxes of fiddle faddle, small boxes of candy or snacks. But if you look at it on a bigger scale, he's been in prison multiple times. This is not his first offense. All these different things. And so it's very easy to paint a picture on both sides of, is there personal responsibility? Do you have personal responsibility? Is the system doing its job in that regard on a bigger scale, but on a smaller scale, is it? And there's a whole lot of nuance there, and I thought, you know, you have people arguing about it on X saying, well, he was a criminal before and this is how the justice system works, and then you have people on the other side saying, well, he shouldn't have had to do this if he didn't have to, you know, which comes first, you know, the system that creates the situation that causes these criminals, or the criminals and personal responsibility that causes the system to have to react the way it does. And so there's a lot of real fighting there, and I think this Muse character is just going to be another one of those things. You know, he starts out and you see some of these, we've been seeing these graffiti drawings all over town done by Muse, where he's showing this duality type thing where Kingpin is, you know, the city savior, but he's also this bad guy and he has a dark past, or is it his past? Same thing with Matt Murdock and Daredevil, and there's a whole lot of back and forth there, and I think Muse is going to assume that he is shining a light on that, but it's going to be very easy to see where Kingpin might view himself as a vigilante hunter because he's going after the people that killed White Tiger, the people that are going after cops. Muse, if he plays himself off as a vigilante, saying, you know, he's doing all the wrong things, but then Matt, on the other hand, saying, well, he's not a vigilante. I'm going to stop him because he goes against everything that I stand for, and he's killing innocent people. I have a feeling they might be setting up for some of that because you can certainly make a case for both of them, and it's going to put Fisk and Murdock at odds. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that element of the story. Lots of things to start off in this episode. You get the White Tiger. You get Hector, his autopsy at the beginning of the episode. You get Hector's niece showing up to the medical examiner's office and Matt having an interaction with her. They zoom in on Hector's medallion and the White Tiger effects in Hector's personal belongings And I think that is just a hint that it's going to pass off to Hector's niece at some point, which happens in the comics. And so whether that happens in this season, next season, or if it even happens at all, I think was a nod that it's going that direction. It is interesting to me when they keep showing Fisk and Vanessa in their therapy sessions. I thought this therapy session was interesting to me, not only because, again, it felt like this is not where you want to see Fisk. This is not him being vulnerable, him trying to be this vulnerable person. It does not play out well for him, and I don't think it had anything to do with I want to see him as a villain, but just this feels off-putting. As a person, it doesn't seem to fit his character. And I thought it was interesting that the only thing that him and Vanessa really agreed on, everything is one person would say one thing, one person would say the other, or their mannerisms, but the one thing they agreed on was they knew the answer to each other's secrets. Something gets asked in the session, they both respond the exact same way, and it was very telling to me that they almost bonded over that moment in terms of their body responses and the way they looked at each other. That scene sets up for some things we see at the end of the episode, and we'll get to that. But you get to see more of that, more of this Fisk fighting against this newer element of himself, with the where his workers and the group of people in his mayoral staff are taking him to all of these events in New York City, things that a mayor has to do to connect with the people and to be around his constituency, and being able to stop and listen and hear what they have to say and then respond to it, even if you respond differently, is a very important part of personal interaction. And Fisk just doesn't get that. He sees a goal, he sees something in mind, and people are nothing more than an obstacle to that. Because that's how he saw his dad do things. That's what he did whenever he needed to get something done. And him having to stand there and listen to them sing this song out of tune that doesn't really fit anything. And even if you want to dig into the song, having him sitting there as an element of law and order, listening to a song about we built this city off of rock and roll. This idea that rock and roll is an element that fights against the system, that pushes back against authority, but the city was built on that, is exactly what Fisk is all about, but he has to be the element of authority and law and order and put on this brave face. I also thought it was very telling that when Fisk applauds the children at the end, he doesn't say what some of us would normally say grammatically. He doesn't say, "That was so great, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for what you do. Kids, you were so wonderful today. Thank you for that." He talks about the children as though they're not there. He makes a comment about children really are this and that. He's not talking to the kids. He's not really talking to everybody else in the room. He's making a generalized, broad statement about children in general, but it's more like he's saying it because he knows it's the right thing to say, even though he doesn't believe it or understand it. And then he has to go right into this next event where coincidentally they are singing the exact same song in a different language, and it's just same setting, different, same setting, same idea, different window dressing. And I think that's going to weigh on him, but not in a positive way. I think it should weigh on a lot of politicians to go, I'm going to all these meet and greets, and I'm smiling with people, and I'm just a figurehead. I'm not actually doing anything. And I think for any honest politician, that would be a good thing. They want to get down to business and they want to reorganize things. But for Fisk, it's going to push him towards anger. It's going to push him towards doing things that compromise this new persona that he's trying to put forward, because it's not what he thought it was going to be. And he's going to be just as frustrated with the system as Murdoch is, but their responses to that system are going to be very different. And so Fisk is going to seek to corrupt that system to his own ends, and Murdoch is going to seek to try to bring some balance to it. And so I think that's where we're headed with this. They're the different side of the same coin, and I think they're building up to that very, very well. I think that was really played out well with the interaction between Matt and Punisher. I thought as Matt is trying to figure out what happened to Hector, using his Daredevil senses to realize that the bullet probably rolled downhill, and he finds it, and then he tracks down Frank, was really awesome. I thought, and I feel like I really nailed this one on the head in my prediction video, that Frank was going to have an opportunity, whether further in the future or just in this moment, to really be a mentor, to really pull something out of Matt that needed to be pulled out of it. And it was even more intense than I thought it would be. When Matt gets frustrated and he punches Frank, and Matt apologizes. I don't want to be this guy. I'm sorry I did that. I shouldn't have reacted that way. And Frank responds, that's the first honest thing you've done. Frank knows who Matt is, and I think at this point he respects the fact that Matt doesn't kill people, but that's not who Frank is. Frank is very secure in who he is and what he does and why he does it, but he knows that Matt's lying to himself, and he knows that Matt is not owning up to who he is or using every bit of who he is to handle this thing correctly. And him calling Matt immediately on the fact that he can't say Foggy's name, he can't bring justice to that situation. He's not even honoring Foggy's memory by denying the other side of himself, is Frank pushing Matt to be honest with himself. And he even that line where he says, you didn't come here to find out, you didn't come here to warn me, you didn't come here to do this, you came here to ask me for permission. There's a part of Matt that really wants Frank to explain away the fact that it's okay to kill people, because that's really what Matt wants in his heart, but he knows he shouldn't do that as well, and that's what he's wrestling with. And so going through the end of this episode, all of that builds into you getting to see both sides of the other side of both of these men. You get to see Fisk in this underground basement area. So the switch from the first episode where Fisk gets elected mayor, and you see Fisk on top of a high-rise bathed in white light, looking down on everyone else. You see Matt ground level below, looking up, bathed in red light, heaven above, hell below type things, where they view themselves. And then in this episode, you get the flip of that. You get Fisk almost debasing himself. He's in a basement area. He is below. He is in dark light. He's wearing the colors that we are accustomed to. You even see the painting that he still has, the white painting that reminds him of the wall that he stared at when he listened to his mom and his dad fight. It's covered in blood from the last episode of season 3 of Netflix, Daredevil, where Daredevil and Fisk fight each other. Remember, this painting came from a woman who Fisk tried to buy it back from, and she wouldn't sell it to him, and so he sends some people to kill her to get it back. This painting is in his basement. He still has it. He still respects it. He still appreciates it. It's like this is who he really is below. He is going deep into his inner subconscious, so to speak, the part of him that is below the surface, and eating foods that he shouldn't be eating. He's not eating the omelet that's good for his health. He's not eating these things. He's eating pasta and sausage and these things. And you see the reason why his knuckles have been bloodied is because he is holding Vanessa's ex-lover hostage, and he's clearly been there for quite some time. But I think when Adam tries to say, Fisk, please help me, Fisk reminds him, no, you address me as mayor. He wants the power. He wants the response. Like it sounds like he's asking for respect, but what he's really wanting is somebody to kneel down to him in power. But you have that scene down below in the basement, and then you have Matt, who wakes up in the middle of the night, restless, goes up to the roof. So now he's above. He's on the roof, and he opens up a hidden cabinet that has a multitude of Daredevil masks. He's training. He's practicing. I don't think, now a lot of people will disagree with me on this, I don't think that necessarily means that these guys have gone back to their old ways immediately. I think they are both trying to appease their primal ways, so to speak. I think it's a reminder that Fisk, at his core, has always been that he hasn't really changed, that he might be trying to do that. and I'll get to why I think that here in a second. But I think that's Fisk's responsibility. But I think Matt, in training, in keeping the masks, it's a reminder that he didn't destroy it. He doesn't want to be Daredevil, but he didn't destroy the masks. He's always got that broken piece of his helmet in his pocket as like this worry stone that he's fiddling with, trying to figure out a way to be okay doing both. But he's trying to figure out how to reconcile going back to being this person. He feels like he's a good person trying to reconcile doing these things that he's not sure are okay. Fisk is trying to be, is a bad person trying to figure out how to pretend to be a good person in hopes that it will make him a good person. And so they're trying to balance out these things and reconcile these sides of their personalities. And I think Matt simply being on the roof practicing, I think is not just Matt saying, I really want to be this guy, but I can't be this guy. I think it's Matt actually saying, if I ever become this guy again, I need to be ready. He's staying prepared. He's being a little more rational about it, I think, than this hidden, and it's not just the hidden agenda with Fisk. He's not just sneaking off to the cupboard to sneak cookies. He has a jail cell in the basement where he is actively holding someone prisoner, as opposed to Matt, who has all these elements, but he's kind of trying them on for size again, whereas Fisk has always been this guy. And I think it's a very subtle difference, but here's where I think you can see it, and here's what I think is going to happen moving forward. You can see it when Fisk tries to root out the leak in his mayoral staff. He's angry, he's frustrated. We shouldn't have a leak. This shouldn't be happening. I demand loyalty. I demand this. And his staffer actually says, it was me, it was my fault, I'm sorry. He's making amends. He's saying, I won't do it again. And Fisk sees that loyalty in his staffer. And in that moment, I don't think he's trying on forgiveness to see if it works. He tells Vanessa that later, I'm trying to be forgiving. I'm trying it on for size. I think he was willing to try on forgiveness because this guy was saying everything that he wishes Vanessa would have said. In counseling, she doesn't feel bad about the fact that she cheated. She blames it on Fisk. You left. You did this. You did that. And to kind of come to Fisk's defense, he left her. He separated himself from her so that Murdoch wouldn't make good on his promise to jail Vanessa for killing people, for doing crimes and all that kind of stuff at the end of the Netflix series. So Fisk does what he thinks is right to protect his wife. It backfires on him. She cheats on him because she never wanted that guy. She wanted the guy that was going to fight. She wanted the guy that would die for what he believed in. She was sitting there. If you go back and watch the end of the Netflix series, she's standing there draped in Fisk's coat, covered with blood, while Fisk is saying, kill me, Daredevil, kill me. And Matt says he's not going to do it. I think Vanessa would have sat there and watched him die. She'd rather see him die, the villain, than to try to become this other thing. She wants him to stand up and be strong and be this. She's going to support that guy. But she feels betrayed. And so in therapy, she's not apologizing. She's not asking for forgiveness. She's not asking for these things. But Fisk's staffer says everything that he wishes Vanessa would say. I'm sorry. I messed up. I'll be loyal. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'm willing for you to crush me. And Fisk sees something he can work with, something he can manipulate. And he tries on forgiveness because he knows that forgiveness, that element, is going to bring this guy even closer into the fold. This guy's going to do anything for him. He knows he's got a loyal worker now. And that feeds Fisk's ego. And so he allows him to go. But then when he gets back with Vanessa, I think there's going to be some split between Fisk and Vanessa because Fisk is going to try, in his effort to try to be forgiving, in his effort to try to do the things that the counselor wants him to do to get Vanessa back, he's actually going to push her further away. She doesn't want vulnerable, honest, forgiving Kingpin. She doesn't want honest, vulnerable, forgiving Wilson Fisk. She wants the Kingpin. She wants the violent, angry, forceful guy that she can stand beside and rule an empire with. System be darned. And he's gonna end up pushing her away because of that. Now, does that make him even more violent when she leaves and they go to blows? Does that mean that she takes up that mantle for a while? That part's going to be very interesting to see whether or not he wins her back by doing those things. And I think that could make for a very intense scene later on. On the other side with Matt, I think, as always, he is liable to push somebody away because he is trying to keep that secret life, which means somebody like Karen Page is the person that knows both sides of him and loves him because of it. And that's what he needs. So he has to lean more into who he's supposed to be in order to really keep his identity. And so this clash, I think they're doing very well with it. I am excited to see what happens when Muse comes on the scene and how it affects these two men, whether or not Matt gets back in the suit. My guess here is that he doesn't get back in the suit for at least another episode. We're in episode 4 going into episode 5. We got 9 episodes. I bet we get Matt in a costume 7, 8, and 9, maybe even just 8 and 9, because you're going to see him wrestle with that, similar to the way he did in the Netflix series, where he keeps a mask in his pocket, but it's fabric, and he puts it on so he masks his identity, but he doesn't actually get in his full Daredevil costume. He's trying it on for size. We'll talk about all that in our forecast and predictions video coming out on Sunday. I'm interested to see what you guys think, so please add those things in the comment. Subscribe to the channel, push the button, do all the things, and then check out our other videos. We got tons of things you can sink your teeth into. And as always, guys, when the next one drops, we'll catch you right back here. Later.